Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you or explain to you what you need to have to kill Zero. Now before you watch the whole video, I'm just going to be explaining to you what you need. No, I'm not going to actually show you how to kill it. If you want to know how to kill it, I recommend watching Mr. Mamal's YouTube guide or Aloha's YouTube guide about how to kill him. They make great YouTube videos. Anyways, let's get going. So the requirements, you need to have the registered quest complete. Now you don't have to have it complete, but you have to have it complete to use the teleports, which you might as well just complete. If you're gonna do it halfway, you might as well just do it all. Now that's basically the requirements you need. Recommendations. I highly recommend 85 plus Ranger Mage, and that's kind of depending on what kind of gear. If you're rich, you just have 80 mage and 80 range, and you have the best gear you can get, you can use that. But for beginners, I wouldn't even recommend using the best gear because it can be costly. Uh, and for beginners, if you have less than 80 plus range and mage, then it's not worth doing because you're not going to be able to get to kill. Also, it's very important that you have 43 plus prayer. I am 70 prayer with 93 range, 86 mage, and I almost run out of prayer while killing. It takes me about 2.5 minutes to kill on average, but I almost run out of prayer and I flick my prayer. So it's very recommended to have 43 or probably somewhere around 60 through 70 plus prayer, but you need to have at least 40 to do it. And if you don't have the prayer, you don't have 60 plus prayer, then you're just gonna be going through prayer potions, which just cost even more. So then let's go on about the drops. Zulrah has quite more drops than what's listed right here. These are just the main drops of what people even look for, go for. There's the Tantanite Fang, Magic Fang, Serpentine, Visage, Onyx, and Uncut Onyx. These all have the chance of 1 every 512 kill count to get it. That's also depending on RNG. It also drops to Jar Swamp, which is 1 every 3,000, which is annoying, and the Pet Snake, which is 1 every 4,000. So now I also want to touch up on, is Zulrah profitable? And it is very much so, mainly because you get 100. I have RS Buddy Pro, or not RS Buddy, OS Buddy Pro, and on average I get about 120k a kill. So, and I don't know, I have 15 monkfish and 1 dose of range, 1 dose of range, 1 dose of mage, and 1 dose of range pod. So, and I get about on average 120k kill, and it takes me about 2.5 minutes to kill it. Teleport to Clan Wars, re-gear or restock, and go right back in. So maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds to bank. So it takes about three minutes to get a kill and get back. My fastest kill is 1:40, so it does average, but on average about 2 minutes 30 kill. 2 minutes 30 seconds to kill. So let's get with the basic setup. Alright, so for basic setup, this is for people who are poor and don't really have a lot of money to do this. You're just starting out. So let's say you don't even have a blowpipe. You just have rune crossbow. Like the basic one would be void. I would have to say the main reason why is because it's a 2 switch. You can make it up to a 4 switch, but this also depends on how fast you can switch and then get your prayers up in time. For void, you can do a 2 switch, 3 switch, 4 switch, and I'll go and explain all of that too. For your items, void, you want an accumulator, of course, for the pick up your bolts. Diamond bolts if you're going to use the rune crossbow or armadillo crossbow. If you have enough money to get a blowpipe, I really get that immediately because that's the best thing for Zulrah. It has the highest DPS range weapon in the game, and use adamant darts because you get a lot of addy bars from Zulrah, so you can just sell them or make them into your own darts for your darts. And for your trident, you don't need a trident or swamp at first. I didn't start with a trident or swamp, I started with just a normal one. And for the affinity boots, you don't need affinity boots. You can use wizard boots or Mystic boots, I wouldn't recommend a range boot. The reason why is because it'll really decrease your magic bonus, and you mage 2 out of the 3 stages anyways. So you want basically a mage bonus, which is why I have the mage cape in here. Now just for people who can only do two-way switches, you know, just crossbow and helm, or trident and helm, uh, if you're only able fast enough to do that, then stick with that. It's perfectly fine. This setup right here is perfectly fine. Now you are gonna need these potions, but you also are gonna need a this ain't gonna be here. You're gonna need an anti-venom plus 4 or anti-venom plus. The reason why is because you don't have a serpentine visage on that will keep you from getting poisoned. Hold on real quick. No, never mind. Okay. Alright, so let's say that you are poor and you don't have an orbital crossbow or toxic blowpipe. You can use a rune crossbow. The difference between the rune and orbital is just a 10 plus range bonus and a 1 plus prayer. So it's very doable. It doesn't make too much of a difference. It's nice having the spec though, you know, 25% more accuracy. But anyways, let's move on to like a more of a way switch. So let's say you can do like a 3-way switch. It's very nice to have the cape because it gives a 10 plus bonus for mage and nothing, and it doesn't do anything for range. It doesn't negate it at all. And if you can do a 3-way switch, you know it's easy. Just have your 3-way switch. Will give you faster kills and better kills. It's more efficient. And now if when you make more money, you can upgrade to a blowpipe, which I'd probably say the first upgrade is. Have your upgrade for blowpipe. You can get rid of the rune crossbow. Then later on, or you can even have the rune crossbow if you feel comfortable with it. You can, for your last hitting, like for some mage steps, you can attack with the blowpipe 6 times before it goes away. Well, now if you want to have the crossbow, you can attack it 5 times with the blowpipe and then once with the crossbow to get a harder hit, and it'll be more efficient that way. And that's basically it for Void. So let's move on to a different one. They just never bother to get it, and they don't want to spend the time getting it. So basically, this one is pretty much like a 4. You can make it a 3-way switch. It's kind of like the old setup now. The gloves, I just forgot about them right now. I just now noticed it. But you can wear combat brace or bear gloves for the best. And I also forgot to mention, when using a rune crossbow or orbital crossbow with a trident, you can have the malediction ward and the odium ward for a better range bonus and mage bonus. But I figured that if you're using the poor setup anyways, you probably don't have the money to go buy both those shields. So you can use like the books, the orbital book, and or something like that, the book of darkness, I think it is, for mage. If you have them, but you don't really need a shield. You don't really need defense at all. But anyways, so let's get this set up. Now, like I said before, you can just use the rune crossbow. If you don't have the trident of the swamp, you can use normal trident. And for the helm, probably don't, like, if you have a serpentine helm, wear that completely. It does have a -5 and -5 mage and -5 range, but it keeps you from getting poisoned, so you don't have to have an anti-venom +4, which will save you money because you get the scales for free. Now I use blowpipe, trident, and helm, the serpentine helm, and I still get more scales than it would have cost to recharge all of them to max. So it's pretty much getting, if you get this helm, it's pretty much, you don't get poisoned at all. You never have to spend money again on the anti-venoms, so it's helpful. But now if you don't have that, you can just use it for Farseer helm. You can have the archer's helm on you, but it would just make a 5-way switch basically, or 5 through 4-way. Because like I said, you don't need the cape, you just need the accumulator for sure for your bolts or your darts for your blowpipe. So you can basically just have this setup If you're poor, you don't need, like I said before, you don't need the infinity boots. You can use mystic or wizard boots. This setup works just fine as well. You don't need Ceradome and D'hide or orbital traps. You can just wear any kind of, oh, that's a bit lag, any kind of God D'hide. I recommend God D'hide because it gives you a prayer bonus, and it's only like 100 something K. You should be able to afford that pretty easy. This setup right here, if without the boots, is like maybe 300K. So it's very easy to get. And like I said before, when you get the money from Zulrah, you can get. I'd probably recommend first getting to try the swamp, then getting the toxic blowpipe. So now let's go into more. Let's go into another setup where it's more expensive. So this setup is the one I use. I get the two 30-minute kills by doing it. It's one of the best setups. It's mainly for people who can afford it though. If you can't afford it, I would recommend sticking with the Void. So there's a 4-way switch, which a lot of people don't like, but a lot of people don't mind it either. You do a 4-way switch, and the inventory I have is Monkfish and my combo food. I don't have an anti-venom plus because I have the Serp Helm. By the way, you want to get bear gloves, of course, or combat brace. I have my mage, range, and prayer potion. The typical gear, my typical gear, you can switch these mystic robes out for arms. I don't because it does have its perks. It gives you more mage bonus, which is more efficient, of course, but I don't like the idea whenever I die from lag or I just get comboed out and just die. I don't like the fact that I have to spend another 115K to repair it, which really isn't much for how much money you get from here, but still, it's still money that you're losing. So I just stick with Mystic because it's free. If you die, you don't lose it. You can go back and retrieve it. So that's basically it. Yours want to keep another recoil just in case someone breaks. You have another one. The Ring of Dueling to teleport back to Clan Wars, and then rebank, get your HP and prayer back, and then go out. And you definitely want a prayer pot if you're under 70 prayer, and you don't flick your prayer. You definitely want a prayer pot. But if you flick your prayer, you just want to test it out and find out what's comfortable for you. But out of any of these setups, if you like them, if you're able to afford them, I'd highly get them. You can adjust a few things. If you have one thing and not the other, switch out whatever is best for it, whatever best item you have for it, and go with that. And you'll find a setup that you like and that you're comfortable with. But for beginners, probably just use the Void. It's only a 2-way switch. You can 2 or 3 with the cape. 3-way switch, and it's very, very efficient. One of the fastest ways to kill it. So that'll be about the end of the video. If you like it, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll be making more later.